Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Music Center channel, the Russian language learning channel, where Russian is learned fast and easy. Today is not a lesson. We are asking the big question. Are Russians racist? Well, this is a good question for you who want to school in Russia, for you who want to just visit the nice and beautiful places and sites in Russia, or for you who want to immigrate to Russia. So don't go nowhere. Stay tuned. Меня зовут Filipina. My name is Filipina, and today I'm going to be discussing with you racism in Russia. To take it from the perspective of some few cities I've been to and some others that my close friends have been to: Moscow, Belgrade, Kazan, St. Petersburg, and Bryansk. Guys, I'm not an authority on racism, so I won't pretend to be one. So this discussion is going to be centered on my personal experience and the experience of some of my close friends and some strangers as well. I'm going to leave the question of are Russians racist for you to answer at the end of this video. Opinions vary widely on this matter, so I'm going to give you the pros and the cons, and in the end you decide for yourself. Here we go. Last year, amidst the whole Black Lives Matter movement in the US, BBC News interviewed some foreigners in Russia, and there were some varied opinions about the state of racism or discrimination in Russia. So there was one that particularly jumped out to me. It was a story of this Congolese student in Russia. He actually made a video of a taxi driver who refused to pick him, and on the video you could hear the driver saying, "I won't pick someone in my car if I don't like him." So the gentleman asked the driver, "Are you racist?" And the driver said, "Of course he is." So Yandex company apologized to the young gentleman and also dismissed the driver. The gentleman also said that in his city where he studies, Bryansk, that city, he says that he faces a lot of discrimination. And he gave an example of once when he went to a cafe and he wasn't allowed to go into the cafe. Why? The security man said that the last time African guys came around, there was a fight. So he was not allowed to enter the cafe. In the end, he said this, and I want to quote him. He said, "Maybe it's because there aren't many of us and we haven't been here long. So people just aren't used to us. There's a big difference between Bryansk and Moscow. Moscow is like a different country. I never felt discrimination there. The big cities are the best. Because of exposure, they are used to interacting with people who do not look like them." He attributed the discrimination he faces on a daily basis to the fact that the people are not used to foreigners or black people. Another person who was interviewed also said that in Russia, there is casual racism, not institutionalized racism like in the US. And she says that sometimes someone can look at you so suspiciously, especially on the metro, and then the person can decide not to sit by you in the metro. I must agree with her that even if there's racism, it's casual racism. So a very close friend of mine, actually she was my roommate in Moscow, she went grocery shopping and she had, two huge packet bags. Yes, on the bus. She sat down, there was an empty seat by her, so she just placed the bags on the seat. Now, she realized that at the next stop, there were people coming. Okay, so she saw a gentleman who was coming towards her. She decided to, take off the bags from the seat so the gentleman can sit. However, when he got close and saw her, he decided not to sit. And there was a babushka, an old lady, who even prompted him, to the empty seat that was by my roommate. But still, he decided to stand. Now, whose loss was that? His loss. Whose pain? His pain. That's how I view discrimination. If because of someone you won't sit, well, you are the one standing, so well, my friend had that spirit. She just picked her bags and replaced them on the seat. I also noticed one form of discrimination when I was in Petersburg. And in the metro, my roommate sat by a man and instantly he got up and then moved somewhere else to stand. Again, his loss, his pain, because he decided to stand. I never particularly experienced discrimination or racism in my time spent in Moscow. The one instance where I felt odd or out of place was once when I was at McDonald's, and there was a mother and child. The girl would be about 8 years old. I could see the girl really staring at me like creepily. Yeah, like she was really staring. And like, look, chocolate. She's so chocolate. I'm like, okay. Yeah, but she kept insisting. Her mom was trying to, calm her down and stop her from, trying to come to me and touch me. But I thought about it. I'm like, okay, she's young. She's fairly young. So probably she isn't exposed to people of my color. So yeah, I didn't take it as anything bad. I just smiled at both the mom and the child. And I just said, Privyet, like, hello, hi. And so the girl came to me. The mom let her, she came to me. And she was like, you're so chocolate. I'm like, yes, that's the nature of my skin. Same way I could say you are pretty pale. Then we just made a laugh out of it. The mom also laughed, and that was it. I really didn't blame the child for calling me chocolate, because she wasn't exposed to the nature of my skin and the color of my skin. So no judgments there. I'm okay. I've never been turned out of a restaurant or a cafe or a food joint. No. All my friends would tell you I entered a lot of restaurants, a lot of cafes, a lot of fast food joints, a lot of food courts, a lot of ice cream joints. Yeah, I used to be a foodie. So I entered a lot of those, and I never felt disrespected, discriminated against, or any racist actions towards me. Never. I actually enjoyed their services. They were pretty nice, friendly, curious. I would say very curious. And once I went to the restaurant with a friend, the meal was absolutely good. The service, the reception, amazing. So after the meal, we asked for the manager. She came out, talked to us. We were two black, people, and she came out to speak to us. She was friendly, she was laughing, we were laughing, we thanked her, we complimented the whole establishment. But I would say the stares are real. They will stare at you, especially if your skin color is like mine. They will stare. Yes. And I think they do that out of curiosity, not out of hatred, because most of them haven't seen black people enough. In this 21st century, there are people in Russia, I would dare to say, who have never seen black people. Yes. So it's out of curiosity that they will stare. My friends in Kazan tell me they stare a lot. And in Belgrade, even though there are few black people, black students there, you still get the stares occasionally. When we went to St. Petersburg, yes, I could feel the stare. It was serious. They could stare. And even in Moscow sometimes, it wasn't that extreme, but you find a few people who would, occasionally stare at you. However, I hear that it's so much reduced now because there's this law that foreign students can now work. So most of them are working as tutors in schools. So this is actually exposing the children to black people and to foreigners. First, they used to be very surprised when they see black people in the parks and all that, because on a daily basis, children were not seeing black people, foreigners. But now they see them in their schools, so they're getting used to it. So I had this experience once where a babushka, an older lady, came close to me at a bus stop. We were waiting for the bus. She just came close to me. I could feel she was staring at me, like it was creepy. And he went, "Wow, I like your hair." I was taken aback, like, okay. I had on my natural hair, the curls and all. She said, yeah. She likes it. Can she touch it? I'm like, oops. But I just brushed it off, one of those things as, yes, she's curious. She wants to know what it's like. She wants to feel it. So I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Touch away. Then she touched my hand. She's like, it's so soft. She was like, from afar, she thought it was going to be hard, but then touching it is so soft. And we had a laugh, So, guys, I'm not saying that people do not experience discrimination or a form of racism in Russia. No, far from that. Far from that. For me, at one point, I even experienced something like that. I was in the train with some colleagues, and there were these Russians from the Stan, Oblast, from the south, and they were these laborers and stuff like that. So in the metro, they were making fun of us. They were calling us very terrible names in Russian. So we just pretended we couldn't understand, and that was the best way to deal with the situation, because when they got tired, these Russians are nice people. They are very helpful. They go out of their way to assist people they don't even know. There were many times that I would approach a Russian to ask for directions or help in getting from one place to another, and they were always so eager to help. There was this experience once where my friends and I were trying to locate a hair salon, and we were going round and round and round. We were just lost. And there was this gentleman we approached, and we asked him, and we told him we are lost. He took us to the place. And this was impressive because he was going the opposite way. He led us there. I could give you a lot of examples like that, okay? And I could give you a lot of bad examples as well. Why? Because there are people who are just like that. There are people who do not use the brains God gave them, and so they discriminate against people who do not look like them. It happens. And we can't say it happens just in Russia. It happens all over the world, even in Africa or in the US or in the UK. If you ask me, are Russians racist? I will tell you no. Why? So let me give you these facts, okay? So this is a country with population 145 million, around that, and blacks account for less than 1% of that population, okay? And foreigners in total will be around 10 million. So you see, the ratio of Russians to foreigners is very low. This means that most of them do not have any idea how foreigners are or how blacks are. The West hasn't done us any favors at all. We are always portrayed, or black people are portrayed as dangerous, criminals, bad. So the prejudice mentality is already there. Some of them will give us the benefit of the doubt and get to know us. Most of them would actually. But some are stuck in their ways. And I attribute it to less education, even though sometimes it's not the case, but most often than not, people who are educated will give you the benefit of the doubt. So come on, if you want to visit Russia, because there are lots of nice sites in Russia, if you want to, please do. I encourage you, I urge you actually. If you want to school, absolutely do. There are many good schools in Russia that would love to have you. And an African or a foreigner who has been a student there before, I'll tell you, it's amazing. A lot of scholarships as well. So please do. If you are immigrating to, why not do it? I know a couple of people who immigrated there. Some are married, living 10 years now. Others just got married. Others are planning to get married to Russians, of course. So I know a lot of Africans, Zambians, Nigerians, Ghanaians, you name it. So if you're planning to immigrate, please do. However, like any other thing you do in your life, you must research. So if you're not going to the big cities like Moscow or St. Petersburg, please do your research thoroughly before you do venture into those cities. Racism in Russia, I would say, it's not really against black people or all foreigners. It's mostly against the former Soviet countries. I don't know why, but that's what it looks like. And especially people from Central Asia, they experience a lot of, discrimination and hate crimes against them. I really do not know the dynamics of that. Maybe I'll do a bit of research and then let you guys know why it is so. Up to this point, how would you answer? Are Russians racist? I would say no. But I don't know about you. I don't know what you've experienced. For you to generalize and say Russians are racist, that's harsh. for a country with the number of people that they have in there, for you to just generalize because a small minority, acts unwisely in quotes, it will be however, I will tell you something. What foreigners actually struggle with in Russia, do you know what that is? It's not racism, guys. It's the weather. The weather is terrible. Okay, it's always out to get you. It's so cold, even during summer. It's sometimes cold. That is what is out to get you. Just get ready, try to get some warm clothes so that you can be prepared and stand against that torturous, monstrous beast of cold. We've come to the end of this video. Are Russians racist? I leave it up to you to decide because opinions vary vastly when it comes to this topic. Thank you so much for watching this video and staying with me to the end. If you have any comments, suggestions, corrections, anything to add, of course you have your own opinions and your own experiences, please share that with me. I'll be so glad to read them in the comments. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos I post. Until next time, your Vas Lublu, Ubidimsia, Paka, and remember, stay safe.